The knock that started it all. It was a quiet Saturday morning in our suburban neighborhood. The kind of calm you only get before chaos decides to visit. I was cleaning up the garage when I heard that infamous, rapid knock knock knock. 3 sharp bangs followed by a pause. And then 2 more. I didn't even need to open the door to know who it was. Karen, the self-appointed president of our HOA, clipboard in hand, sunglasses on, and judgment written all over her face. "Mr. Lewis," she said, pushing past my doorframe without an invite. "You're violating community policy number 12, unauthorized renovation work." I stared at her baffled. "I'm literally sweeping the floor, Karen, not building the Taj Mahal." But logic never stopped her before. She marched right into the garage, inspecting everything like she was a detective on a crime scene. "These paint cans? Unauthorized color. And this ladder? Safety violation." "Karen," I sighed. "The ladder's from Home Depot, not the Pentagon." She wasn't having it. Her nostrils flared, and she snapped a picture of my garage. "I'll be filing an official complaint. You'll be hearing from the HOA." Before I could respond, she stormed off down the driveway, muttering something about neighborhood standards. I shook my head, laughing to myself, not realizing this was only the beginning. Later that afternoon, my wife Mia came home from her shift at the local dispatch center. She's a 911 operator, sharp, calm under pressure, and, as fate would have it, about to play the most satisfying role of her life. As we were eating dinner, Karen reappeared on our porch, this time angrier than before. "I demand to inspect the inside of your home. HOA bylaws give me the right." Mia nearly choked on her drink. "You can't just barge into someone's house, Karen." Karen pulled out her phone. "Then I'll call the cops and have you arrested for obstruction." We watched as she actually dialed 911, pacing dramatically like she was the victim of a crime. Mia and I exchanged a knowing look. Minutes later, Mia's work phone buzzed. She excused herself to the other room, smirking. I followed quietly, and sure enough, she was answering Karen's 911 call. "911, what's your emergency?" Mia said calmly, recognizing the voice instantly. Karen shouted, "This man and woman are refusing an HOA inspection. I need officers here now." Mia grinned. "Ma'am, impersonating law enforcement or misusing emergency services is a serious offense. Please stay where you are." Karen froze. The tone in Mia's voice told her she was in deep trouble. And that was just the start of her downfall. The call that backfired. Karen stood frozen on our porch, clutching her phone like it was a weapon. The look on her face was priceless, halfway between shock and outrage. "Ma'am," Mia continued through the headset, keeping her voice professionally steady. "Are you currently in danger?" Karen huffed. "I am the danger. They're violating HOA rules." Inside, I was trying not to laugh out loud. I whispered, "She's about to implode." Mia winked at me. "Ma'am, HOA disputes are civil matters," she said. "And calling 911 for non-emergencies can result in a misdemeanor charge." Karen's face turned redder than a stop sign. "How dare you talk to me like that? I know my rights." "Oh, you'll find out soon enough," Mia said under her breath as she ended the call. Karen stomped off the porch, muttering, "I'll handle this myself." We figured she'd go home, cool off, and maybe bake a batch of cookies to soothe her fury. But no, this was Karen. Cooling off wasn't in her DNA. An hour later, 2 patrol cars pulled up in front of our house. My jaw dropped. Mia sighed. She actually went to the station. Sure enough, Karen emerged proudly from her own car behind the cruisers. Clipboard still in hand, she walked straight up to the officers. "That's the house. They're violating community code. I want them fined and evicted." The officers exchanged a look that said, "We're dealing with one of those again." "Ma'am," one officer began, "HOA rules are not criminal offenses. You can't call 911 to enforce them." Karen scoffed. "I didn't call 911. I made an emergency report." The other officer raised a brow. "You called 911 twice in the last hour." He turned to Mia. "You work for dispatch, right?" Mia nodded, calm as ever. "Yes, and I took her first call personally." Karen's jaw dropped. "Wait, you? That's conflict of interest." "Not really," Mia replied coolly. "You called to misuse emergency services, and I documented it. You'll receive an official report in the morning." Karen's eyes widened. "You can't arrest me. I am HOA president." The officer sighed. "Ma'am, you're under investigation for false reporting." And just like that, the mighty HOA, Karen, queen of control, was read her rights on her own manicured lawn. Neighbors peeked through blinds, recording from porches. The sound of Karen yelling, "This is harassment," echoed through the cul-de-sac. As the squad car drove away, Mia leaned against me, smiling. You think she'll calm down now? I chuckled. Karen? She'll probably write herself a citation first. The HOA meeting meltdown. For a few days, things actually felt peaceful. The neighborhood seemed quieter without Karen patrolling the sidewalks like a one-woman security force. I even started believing she might have learned her lesson. But peace and Karen couldn't coexist for long. By Friday, an email hit everyone's inbox. Mandatory HOA emergency meeting tonight. Attendance required. Mia read it out loud, groaning. Oh no, she's back already? Sure enough, that evening, we walked into the community clubhouse, and there she was, sitting at the head of the long table with a neck brace, a folder full of papers, and a glare sharp enough to cut glass. Thank you for coming, she announced dramatically. I have been wrongfully detained and humiliated due to a malicious complaint by our neighbors, the Lewises. Murmurs rippled across the room. Some neighbors rolled their eyes. Others tried not to laugh. Karen slammed her folder down. I demand a vote to remove them from our HOA. They are a danger to community order. Before I could speak, Mia stood up calmly. Karen, we didn't file any complaint. You called 911 on yourself. Karen gasped. That's a lie. Mia opened her phone and played a short audio clip. Karen's frantic voice yelling, I am the HOA president. Send officers. The room went silent, except for a few stifled laughs. Karen's face drained of color. You recorded me? Mia smiled politely. All 911 calls are automatically recorded. You know, for training purposes. The HOA treasurer, an older man named Bill, cleared his throat. Karen, this is getting ridiculous. You fine people for grass length, mailbox color, even wind chimes. Another neighbor chimed in. And you took pictures of our backyard barbecue last month. Karen's composure crumbled. This is my neighborhood. My rules. That was the moment everything fell apart. She started waving her clipboard, knocking over a cup of coffee, ranting about bylaws and neighborhood decorum. Mia leaned toward me. She's unraveling. Then, the clubhouse doors opened. 2 officers stepped inside, the same ones who had arrested her days ago. Karen froze mid-sentence. You again? The lead officer said calmly, Ma'am, we need to speak with you about your court summons. You missed your scheduled hearing. Her face twisted in disbelief. You can't do this in front of my HOA. But they did. The entire board watched as she was escorted out, clipboard still clutched in her hand like a fallen scepter. Mia whispered to me, Guess we'll need a new HOA president. I grinned. Preferably one who doesn't dial 911 over paint colors. Justice served, HOA style. After Karen's dramatic second arrest, the neighborhood became a completely different place. Kids played on the sidewalks again. Neighbors chatted, freely without fear of getting HOA violation notices. And for the first time in years, everyone's porch lights were actually the color they wanted. It was like peace had finally returned to Maplewood Drive. A week later, we got a letter from the county courthouse. Karen was officially charged with misuse of emergency services and harassment. It wasn't jail time, but it was enough to strip her of her position in the HOA. That next Saturday, a replacement meeting was held to elect a new president. Mia and I showed up just to see the atmosphere. Everyone seemed lighter, friendlier, and dare I say, relieved. Bill, the treasurer, stood at the podium. As you know, former President Karen has been temporarily suspended pending legal review. We need someone new, someone sane. The room laughed. A few people actually nominated Mia. She blushed and waved it off. I think I've had enough of Karen's drama for a lifetime. Maybe I'll run, I joked. First order of business, bonfires allowed on Fridays. The crowd cheered, half serious. It was clear everyone wanted change. Just as the vote was about to start, the clubhouse door opened. And there she was, Karen. Her neck brace was gone, replaced by a stiff posture and a forced smile. I'm here to reclaim my position, she announced. The charges are false. I am the rightful HOA leader. Groans echoed through the room. Bill sighed. Karen, you were legally removed. She ignored him and pointed at Mia. You set me up. You and your husband humiliated me. Mia stood up calmly. Karen, you called 911 on yourself, twice. You tried to force your way into our home. You're lucky all you got was probation. Karen's eyes darted between faces, realizing no one was on her side anymore. You're all turning against me? Bill replied flatly. No, Karen, we're just done living in fear. Security officers, hired for the meeting just in case, gently escorted her out as she screamed. About bylaws and community, betrayal. The door closed behind her, and the entire room burst into applause. Later that night, as Mia and I sat on our porch watching the sunset, I laughed. Think she'll ever stop? Mia smiled, sipping her coffee. Karen? Probably not. But at least now she'll have someone else to call, maybe her lawyer. We both chuckled, listening to the quiet hum of our peaceful neighborhood. No shouting, no clipboard, just calm. For the first time, Maplewood Drive finally felt like home again.